And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Why, hello there. Today we're going to talk about Lost What is this? Inside my Lost Temple box? I thought this was a brand new game by Bruno Faidutti, and inside I find this game. This is a good game, Citadels. But why is it inside my Lost Temple box? That is because, ladies and gentlemen, Lost Temple is the nicer, kinder, gentle race version of Citadels. That could end my review right there, really, because that's essentially what it is. There's differences, of course, but how you think of that idea will present how much you like this game. If you love Citadels and like to see it in other forms, you're going to love this game. And I'm not sure why I'm giving my opinion now. Let's get into the game, and then we'll see. Here's the board, the racetrack, if you will. Players will be starting here and going all the way to this temple. In a long player game, they will only go to this one, but with 5 or less players, they go all the way to the second temple. Players will each draw a random character card, and they only look at the bottom. And this basically tells you what number space you start on and how many gems you start with. So the closer up to the front, you start with fewer gems. All the way in the back, you'll start with more gems, and you might even get a machete token. Now, on your turn, there will be a methodology in which one player, whoever goes first, is going to take these cards, and they're going to look at all the cards. They'll have all the cards except 1 or 2, and they're going to pick which role they're going to be. And it's secret. Then they pass them to the next player, and the next player, so on and so forth, till everyone has a role. Then someone calls the roles out in order, and Shaman always goes first, then the Thief, etc. If no one is doing that role, fine, you skip to the next one. But if someone is doing that, they reveal it and do what it says. Now, the little people moving around the track are little gentlemen here. And so, let's talk about them. The Shaman, when you do that, you call another role. You can look at a card here that tells you all the different roles. So I could say, for example, Priest. When the Priest turn comes up, I will switch with that player. So let's say yellow's the Priest and I called him, then I'll switch with him. But if I'm here and I'm trying to switch with blue and orange happens to be the Priest, well, then that's too bad for me. I switch back. So you're trying to guess a role that someone who is in the lead will take to get in their spot. The Thief will also announce a role, and when that person's role comes up, they're going to steal all that player's gems from them. The Thief then can move 1 or 2 spaces for free. The Seer can look at 2 of these face-down chance tokens. Now, these chance tokens will sometimes give you extra move, sometimes they'll give you extra gems, and sometimes they're negative. This one gives you a machete, and they do different things, and so they can take 2 and switch them, and then move 1 or 2 spaces. The Priest can pay 2 gems to move to the next temple spot. There are various temple spots on the board, and so you can move all the way to the next one in line for 2 gems. The other lets you move to the next village spot, and there's several village spots in the board. The Craftsman, you get a machete token, if there's any available, and you can move 1 or 2 spaces for free. You say, what are these machete tokens? Because there's several spots on the board where there's jungle brush, and you can't get through those, or you can't move through them unless you have a machete token. You can stop on them, but you can't move through them unless you pay a machete token. The Scout lets you pay as many gems as you like and move that many spaces forward. The Canoe, and this is kind of weird because we have Shaman, Thief, Seer, Priest, Elder, Craftsman, Scout, and Canoe. I don't know how, well, anyway. So anyway, Canoe, you can pay all your gems and move double that many spaces forward. And then a Child, you can catch up to the person who is directly in front of you. And that's basically how the game works. Each turn, you do whatever it says, you're getting gems, and hopefully you can make your big move, and the first person to get to the finish line is the winner. Okay, it's not Citadels, but wow. Talk about recycling a mechanic. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with recycling a mechanic. Hey, if the mechanic's great, you know, if Donald Vaccarino wants to make Dominion 2.0, go for it. But, you know, this game just lacks, for me, the excitement that Citadels has. In Citadels, the role selections are neat. I love the role selection aspect of this. Don't get me wrong. It's a great thing. I've seen it in Mission Red Planet, and Citadels, and it's not bad here, except the race itself isn't as exciting as I'd want it to be. I think that you should always play with the shorter race, regardless of how many players are playing the game, and at the first point. But the whole switching back and forth mechanic, I don't know. That to me just is kind of a dud after playing how cool the assassin was in Citadels. So, great artwork, and I have to be frank here. While some people who I played it with thought the same as I did, there were other people who really enjoyed it, who really thought it was cool, who hated the assassin from Citadels and liked how this game changed it up. So I think this is an excellent family game. I think it's going to see a lot of play, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this game. But for me, it's kind of like they took the teeth out of Citadels and made it into a little bit more of a boring race game, and that's not my style.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.